Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Cara Kurtz, and I am Business Development Coordinator at ASTA, and I will be the organizer for today's presentation. We are happy to welcome today's presenter, Ms. Jody Pyland with UATP. She is their Communications Manager. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We'll be answering your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will be using your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there is an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you're having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure that your speakers are turned all the way up. And if you've called in, please try hanging up and dialing back in. You can send me any technical issues via this questions pane, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. I will be responding via that same pane. Please note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from all of you, but with so many people on today's call, background noise would be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear the entire presentation. Finally, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing on our NACTA YouTube channel by early next week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Jody.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Jody Pyland. I'm here to talk to you about Insiders Club, which is a benefit we offer to our NACTA partners. So Insiders Club is annual travel insurance. A little bit about how we got started. UATP was the very first charge card created by American Airlines in 1936 for corporate travel payments. Since then, we've become a payment platform that's privately owned by 32 airlines across the globe. So many years ago, we decided to come up with a product for our fellow travel industry members. And now UATP offers membership to Insiders Club, which is annual travel insurance for travel industry professionals and their families whenever you travel on any scheduled airline, Amtrak train, or cruise line. So Insiders Club is exclusively offered to travel industry employees and their families, but we did recently increase the groups that can use it now. So on top of the original travel agents, airline employees, cruise line employees, we've opened membership up to tour operators, meetings and event planners, airport employees, and travel journalists. So we like to say that it's for travel industry insiders since it's only available to travel professionals. You can choose an individual plan or one that includes your family members and any dependent children. With this, they are protected anytime they travel, even if they're not traveling with you. For example, when my husband travels for work, even though the policy is in my name, he's covered even if he's traveling without me. One other thing to point out are that plans are there to protect you when you travel. They are not to sell to your clients. They're annual travel insurance for you, the travel agent. Lastly, on eligibility, you must reside in either the United States, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Bahamas, Canada, or the Philippines. We're in the process of adding more countries in Asia, which will hopefully roll out soon. And this isn't to say where you're covered. You're going to be covered anywhere in the world you travel as often as you travel. This is just where you must be a resident of in order to be a member of Insiders Club. As I said earlier, Insiders Club is annual travel insurance. It's not per trip, so you pay only one fee a year. Coverage starts the first day of the month following receipt of payment. For example, if you pay your bill on October 30th, your plan will become active November 1st, and then you'll be covered for the following 12 months. All prices and benefits are quoted in US dollars. Also, UATP markets the program, but plans are administered by Aon. So I wanted to show you a snapshot view of the value of Insiders Club. Plans start at $26.95 a year, and then they vary based on the level of protection that you're looking for. Often trip insurance is 5 to 10% of that entire trip's cost, but with Insiders Club, you're only paying that one fee a year. That's all you have to pay for that year. You're not having to pay each trip you go on. Our plans are low cost, high value, and hassle-free. When you have an annual plan, you no longer have to purchase coverage for each trip you take, which saves you time and money. And here's an example of one of Expedia's international flight products for insurance. It's a random flight that I looked up just to see what they offer. So Expedia is going to offer similar coverage to us, but it's not the same value. Insiders Club offers this, and more since it's an annual plan instead of a per trip plan. For one price, you'll be protected on each trip you take all year long. Our members travel often, so they find Insiders Club extremely useful because of the amount of protection they can receive. Travel agents find it valuable because a lot of the trips that are things that might not be covered on a trip will be covered with Insiders Club. So on a non-rev flight, an airline employee's luggage is not covered by their employer, but if they're an Insiders Club member, their luggage is going to be covered. Same with fam trips. If you're on a fam trip, you're going to be covered under one of our plans. So each of the plans vary around these core benefits. And then from there, there's going to be 6 levels of protection that you can choose from based off of how much protection that you think you need. Our first plan is the Classic plan. All coverage for this is per trip, with the exception of trip cancellation, which is per year, and I'll go over that a little further later down. The Classic plan costs $26.95 a year for an individual and $74.95 for the family plan. So with this, you're getting, for an individual, you're getting all this on every trip you take for less than $30 a year if you choose this plan. Next up, we show the additional benefits that are in the Silver plan. This one's going to cost $80.95 for an individual plan and $158.95 for the family plan. Here you can see that emergency evacuation doubles to $50,000. Trip AD&D jumps up to $750,000. Baggage and trip delay coverage is also added. And then Platinum is going to be at the top of the plans. It's going to cost $132.95 a year for individual and $211.95 for the family plan. Once again, you can see the increase in coverage. Emergency evacuation jumps up to $75,000. Trip AD&D jumps up to $1 million. And we have more additional benefits that are added in this plan, such as rental car insurance. And I also want to remind you that this is one fee a year that you're paying. You're not paying this per trip, you're paying this once a year. And then here's the plus plans I mentioned. There's 3 of them, one that goes with each of the core plans. So yeah, as an added value, we offer the plus plans. This would be whichever plan you choose, plus the trip cancellation. And one of the exciting things to let y'all know is recently we increased the amount of trip cancellation for each plan. In the past, we offered up to $1,000 at most, but we've heard from many of our members that they wanted more coverage, and so we have increased it at no additional cost, which is actually kind of rare in the insurance world because it's not often that they increase coverage at no additional cost. So with this, you're going to have Classic Plus now offers up to $2,000 in trip cancellation. Silver is going to offer up to $3,000 in the trip cancellation, and Platinum Plus offers up to $5,000 in trip cancellation. And then for this, it's cancellation is coverage is per person. So if you're on a family plan, it's not going to be per plan. If you got 5 members on your plan, it's going to be 5 people each are going to have this coverage. And finally, I wanted to show you the condensed summary of coverage showing each available plan. It also separates the plus plan, so you can kind of compare whether or not you would want the plus plan or just the regular version. I'll hold the slide up for a minute so you can review, but all of this information can also be found on our website, which I will pull up on a link up on the next page. And this is also where you can sign up if you want to choose to sign up there. So yeah, I'll hold this up for a moment. All right, and so here's the list of the website and our contacts. As Aon is the insured, their call center will be able to answer any questions you're going to have for specific Insider Club membership. So they're always happy to take questions. That's got my email address. I'm happy. Contact me directly. If I can't answer it, I can get you in touch with someone that can. And I can leave it up here. I can put it back on the other slide, depending on which one y'all like. But thanks for having me today.
Thank you, Jody. It was such a great presentation. It looks like we only have a few questions that have come in. It looks like our first question might be somebody who was not with us for the full presentation. So she's asking if these annual rates are per person, if they're per, or if they're for the family. And I believe that the slide that you just had them up listed as per person as well as per family, correct?
Yeah, so we have individual and family plans.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So is trip cancellation per trip or per year?
Trip cancellation is the only thing that's per year. Everything else is per trip. So the easiest way to explain the trip cancellation is, so it's kind of like a debit bank. So say you go on a trip and you have a $500 deductible that you need to take out because something came up. So now and if you had the $5,000 plan, now instead of having 5,000, you have 4,500, and that's for the rest of the year. But everything else is per trip.
So the plus plan is for trip cancellation?
Yeah, so the plus plan includes everything that's in whichever the core plan is, plus cancellation.
Perfect. Thank you so much for confirming. It looks like we have an advisor who already has a plan for herself, but she's wondering if she can add her husband onto that plan, or does she need to wait until the renewal date in order to do that?
Contact the call center. You can add your husband to the plan. You'll just have to pay the difference in cost.
So it looks like we have another advisor who is saying, is this annual plan offered for all states? She lives in New York, and she finds that they're excluded from several plans.
Yeah, you're covered in New York. Our insurer is actually based out of New York.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. The Silver Plus trip cancellation of 3,000. Sorry, just lost that question. Give me one moment. We have so many coming in. So the Silver Plus trip cancellation of 3,000, is this per occurrence? It looks like this advisor is going to Nepal next month and Russia next year, and they want to know, are they covered?
So you'll be covered up to 3,000. If that's not enough for your trip, you might want to do a secondary insurance to cover for the additional.
Perfect. Thank you, Jody. For any of you who are just joining us, this webinar was recorded and it will be on our NACDA YouTube channel by early next week. How many members of a family are covered underneath the family plan?
So it's going to be a spouse or dependent partner, and then any, not dependent partner, excuse me, any dependent children that you have.
Thank you. Is NACDA membership or ASTA membership a prerequisite for purchase of this plan?
No, as long as you're a travel agent in the travel industry, airline employee, hotel, tour operator, so on, we just do special producting with ASTA and ACTA. We've been partners with them for a long time.
What's your most popular plan that's purchased?
For people that travel the most, Platinum Plus usually is, just because you're going to get the most bang for your buck. But I don't like to tell you which plan to go with, because it's going to be based off of how much you travel and how much protection you think you need. But most people tend to go with the Platinum Plus.
You said that you had to be a travel agent, so are home-based travel agents considered as well?
Yep, you are. We actually we market to a lot of home-based agents.
Does the classic plan cover worldwide?
Yes. Yeah, all the plans are worldwide.
Perfect, thank you. Just to clarify, you're only covered for 3,000 per trip.
That's for Silver Plus. Platinum Plus is up to 5,000.
Perfect, thank you. Is there a limit to the number of claims / trips per year?
No, it's unlimited. The only thing that's got a limit is the trip cancellation, and that's what the per year, as long as up to you hit your limit or your bank.
Thank you. Where can our advisors read about exactly what is covered underneath each of the different plans?
At UATPtravelprotection.com, and I just pulled it up on the screen.
Perfect, thank you. And then I also believe that that's the same link that will be in their webinar follow-up email that will be sent on Monday, correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Is this only for business trips, or is this pleasure as well?
Business, vacation, fam trips, just anytime you're traveling on a scheduled airline, Amtrak, or cruise line.
How does medical access work?
So it's got up to excess medical that your personal insurance won't cover, but since it's not medical insurance, it's not going to cover certain things like that. But if you are traveling and your medical insurance covers up to a certain amount, it'll help cover a little bit over that. It just depends on which plan you go with. Oops, sorry.
Okay. Next question is, if we use up the benefit, can we then purchase a new one-year policy, or do they have to purchase per trip insurance?
For ours, it's only once per year that you can purchase this. If you used up the policy, the only thing that you'd be using up would be the trip cancellation, since everything else is per trip. And so for that, you would have to look somewhere else for it if you wanted to add trip cancellation, but you wouldn't be able to use up the active AD&D, the emergency evacuation, and so on.
Jody, could we please go back to where that link is one more time? It looks like people are looking for your email address. Thank you.
Yes, I'm at the bottom under UATP.
Perfect. Is this primary or secondary coverage?
Well, since it's not medical coverage, that wouldn't count towards it.
Okay.
Unless I'm misunderstanding the question.
All the question was, is this primary or secondary? Whoever asked that question, if you would like to chime back in and make sure that we're asking it correctly and giving you a clear answer, please feel free to. Looks like we have a question, is this good for all 50 states? Jody, am I safe to say yes, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this based on a 12-month plan?
No, so it's going to be the first of the month following payment. So if you signed up anytime in October, November 1st is going to be the first day of coverage, and then it's the full 12 months afterwards.
Jody, it looks like one of our advisors wants to confirm all 50 states plus Puerto Rico.
Yep, Puerto Rico's in it.
Are terrorist acts covered underneath this plan?
If your parents are able to get travel benefits through you or happen to work in some sort of travel industry, they can sign up for their own plan, but they wouldn't be able to get it through your policy.
Can you register individually for this insurance if you are part of a host agency?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so this one is a little bit more specific, but it looks like we have somebody who waited at JFK for 7 hours, and then their flight ended up being canceled due to weather. Would this person be entitled to a complimentary hotel room through this plan?
Usually if it's not through the airline for something like that, they would, if they have trip cancellation or interruption, they could get reimbursed through that. But when it comes to more specific questions like that, I like to direct you to the call center because they're going to know the more specifics where I know more of the high level.
Okay, thank you. All right, are hurricanes going to be covered?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Hurricanes, Do they fall underneath the things that are covered?
And that's going to be one that you're going to want to talk with the call center because it's going to depend which plan you're under.
Are sub-agents able to enroll on their own?
As long as they're considered in the travel industry, then they can sign up for their own plan.
Okay, back to the medical coverage question. Does UATP kick in after personal insurance pays, EI secondary, or does UATP pay first?
Okay, so for that, it would be secondary, but that would only be for the excess medical expense. That's not, so it's going to cover up to $5,000 of what your medical insurance wouldn't cover.
Okay, so it looks like this isn't exactly a question, it's more of a comment. So sometimes when you submit a claim through insurance, after it's submitted, they say no. Is this something that people run into a lot with this plan as well?
I haven't heard very many complaints. I've heard mostly people say that it's pretty easy to get their claims covered. But it's just one of those things where I just always recommend make sure you keep all your receipts for everything, keep all the paperwork, and then submit it to the call center. And that if there's something wrong, they're usually able to walk you through so that they can help you fix it so that it can be covered.
Perfect. For the classic plan specifically, do you know if it covers for earthquake?
That is a new question for me, so I don't want to give a wrong answer. For something like that, I would contact you in the call center.
Okay. It looks like somebody is wondering if you have a scenario outline showing how coverage works, such as the wait at the airport to when the flight is actually canceled. Is that something that they would want to call the call center for as well?
Yeah, because each situation is going to have a different scenario, so that's something for the call center.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like the rest of our questions have actually already been answered with a previous question. So that will, wait, one more just came in. This is more of a personal question for you, Jody, but what are you most proud about of these plans?
Honestly, the thing that makes me most happy is when I attend like different events like ASTA and ACTA, and I have agents come up to me and tell me their personal stories of how Insiders Club was there, and they'll tell me like, I had a problem here, I put my claims in, and it worked as easily as could be. So that just, whenever I hear that from an agent, that just makes me happy.
Well, thank you so much for your feedback, Jody. This was an absolutely great webinar, and I can speak on behalf of our advisors that they enjoyed it and were very engaged as well. As I had mentioned, this webinar was recorded, so this will be on our NACTA YouTube channel by early next week. On the screen still is some contact information should anybody have any remaining questions, and the link to the travel protection website will be in your follow-up email that comes out as well. So thank you all, and especially a big thank you to you, Jody, for such an informative webinar. Again, we definitely enjoyed it, and I hope that everyone has a lovely weekend.
Thank you.